How's it going, everybody? It's Tactard Ted. It's the 22nd of June, 2022. The 22nd of June. What can we say about this date in history? Well, this is the day that Nazi Germany officially lost the war. June 22nd, 1941. The day they started their worst mistake that led to the decline of Nazi Germany. Yes, they started a long, hard road to defeat, much like the Ukrainian army is now on a long, hard road to defeat. Now, I'd like to touch on a few things. I keep hearing the same narrative. How did it ever happen? How did we get to this? Why didn't Putin want to negotiate? Actually, Putin tried to negotiate. Putin tried to reach out to people. And Joe Biden was going to show how tough a guy he is. He's all into showing how tough and virile he is. Fucker can't even fucking walk a fucking bicycle without falling over. But, hey, he's young. He's virile. He's the oldest fucking president we've had in history. But he's up to the challenge. He's up to the task. He'll show Putin what's what. And because of his mishandling, there's a war going on. And Biden's going to fight it to the last Ukrainian life, I guarantee it. And what's even more interesting than that is now Biden is attempting to throw Zelensky under the bus. Yes, he's going to throw Zelensky under the bus. We told him. He didn't want to listen. We told him, if he'd only listen to me. Well, every good lie has a modicum of truth. And yes, Zelensky would have been better off to have negotiated prior to 24 February. But Zelensky didn't. And Zelensky keeps playing the negotiation game. He negotiates, then he backs out. Then he negotiates, then he backs out. And what he's doing is he's stalling. And not stalling, but he's stalling. For those of you who don't dig a southern twang, he is stalling. But, and more recently, Peter Poroshenko, the guy that Zelensky replaced, came out and he explained why they signed the Minsk II agreement, which is part of the Normandy Compact. I don't have time to explain all that because I usually always run over anyhow. But anyhow, there was an agreement that was going to end the hostilities, the genocide that was going on in eastern Ukraine by the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian military and the Azov guys, because they're wonderful, they're special. They're wonderfully special Nazis. But we can't really call them Nazis because they're not really Nazis. I mean, just because they do the stiff arm salute and wear swastikas and have an infatuation for Hitler doesn't mean they're Nazis. No, you don't understand the nuances. Sorry, guys, I've been to that region of the world. I understand the nuances. I do also understand that in 2010, the Russians made the Slavic Union one of the biggest neo-Nazi organizations in Russia, which there aren't a whole lot of big neo-Nazi organizations in Russia. They made them illegal. You can't be a member. You can't have that organization. You can't even display its symbols. All this was supposed to come to an end with Minsk. And now Peter Poroshenko comes out and he says, hey, guys, we didn't believe in that. No, we only signed it so we would have time to get our act together so we could finally wipe everybody in Donbass out. And that's what they were in the process of doing. They were building up on the demarcation line in eastern Ukraine. And the Russians have said for some time they were seeing signs that they were going to go finish the job in Donbass. They were going to go in and wipe out many million civilians. And if you doubt their dedication to wiping out civilians, all you have to do is look at what is going on in Donetsk this whole last week. Donetsk City, there is nothing there military. There are no military units stationed there. In fact, just about all their military is at the front, which to me, if you ask me, that's a dangerous situation. But I guess that's how they intend to win this war. the Ukrainian military is shelling a city of civilians. They're also shelling multiple villages where there are no firing positions. There are no military there, and they are lobbing shells in. Now, of course, yesterday there was a big hubbub, not on our not on our side of the line of demarcation, but on their side of the contact line. They're saying that they believe that HIMARS, that great multiple rocket launch system, game changer, the 50th wonder weapon in this conflict, is going to, it was going to change the game, everything. They believe it was the HIMARS was launched at the first time against civilians. Your tax dollars, folks. Your tax dollars to terrorize civilians in Donetsk. Aren't you happy? Aren't you proud? The only saving grace in this is there is nothing I see that says definitively, yes, it was HIMARS. And these things sometimes in a war zone start on rumor, like the Bucha massacre started on rumor that there was a massacre caused by Russian forces. You notice how that story's disappeared? Do you know why it's disappeared? It disappeared because we found traces, and when I say we, I mean people who were investigating it, found traces of darts in these people's bodies that are indicative of Ukrainian cluster munitions. Yes, bombs that blow up, or shells that blow up, and they throw splinters, darts, and all sorts of neat things that rip through the flesh and kill you. Now it's starting to look as though the Russian army evacuated. The Ukrainians say, we don't believe those rascally Russians. Oh, no, they're hiding. Let's lob some shells in there. And they killed a bunch of civilians, many of whom had just recently received Russian food packets and happened to be carrying Russian food packets, white armbands. Other people even speculate that the Ukrainians did that to show that they will not tolerate anyone who cooperates or takes aid from the Russians. That's the way that is. But really, folks, why is all this hubbub? Why are we suddenly seeing the Russians being the way they are? Well, I'll tell you why. The Russians are tired of being bullied. Yeah, they're tired of being bullied. Now, I know, oh, no, you got it wrong. The Russians are the bullies. Oh, absolutely. This whole deal is the bully on the schoolyard. A couple bullies. And they all hang out together in this club they call NATO. And they love to bully Russia. Oh, they bully Russia. Because they know if Russia acts, they'll get together and they'll really beat on Russia hard. And Russia's that kid on the other side of town that didn't have a whole lot. His family hit hard times. Mom and dad divorced. Really doesn't have any direction, doesn't know where he's going. He had direction, then the family fell apart, the Soviet Union. And we can just slap him around and do whatever we want to him. Well, we got a problem. Our little brother, who's got a big mouth and doesn't know how to behave, he likes to go kick Russia in the ass every now and again. He likes to point a finger at him and ha and poke him. And we keep saying, hey, that's our little brother, man. Don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with him. Well, finally, little brother's gorilla mouth outweighs his hummingbird ass. And this is that deal where you sent your little brother over to fuck with this guy, and the guy finally had enough, and he's beating the fuck out of your little brother, and he's looking at you like, you come over here and get a piece of this, it's going to be a fucking problem. And unfortunately, we've got several little brothers. Because one of the little brother members of the gang, Lithuania, has decided that they aren't going to let Russia send Russia material through their territory. Because it violates the importation things, that the sanctions that the EU set up. So, for those of you who don't know geography and don't know the end of World War the old Prussian city of Königsberg at the end of World War II was taken by the Russians and was renamed Kaliningrad. Now, Kaliningrad remains a part of Russia today. Unfortunately, there's a couple of countries in the way. It has to go through Latvia and Lithuania to get to Russia. So it's not very different than Alaska. Alaska is part of the United States. It's not part of the contiguous United States. And if you want to drive to Alaska, you have to go through Canada. So this wasn't so much different as if Canada said, oh, we don't allow coal in our country. You can't send coal to Alaska. Same sort of deal. Oh, we don't like that. In fact, Canada does this. It does it with firearms ammunition. Because they're such a communist shitball of a country, they don't allow these sort of things. And it doesn't matter that it's not going to touch their soil. We can't take it in a truck and drive it from US of A to the US of A without them getting into it. And so Lithuania is starting to play this game. And in a lot of ways, this is violating their so-called neutrality, but I don't see how they're fucking neutral because they're members of NATO. But they're running their mouth, and Russia is pissed off. They believe you're now fucking internally with Russia by not letting Russia send shit to Russia. You're fucking with Russia. And they're making threats to do things that are going to negatively affect their entire population. Which, what could that be? What could that be? Well, I hear a lot of pundits going, they're threatening war. No, they're threatening that you're going to have a very cold winter. That they're going to shut off the gas tap. And I really hope that they don't do it till like November. Because I understand how Europe acts. Europe acts like the fucking lazy asses in this country act. We don't get proactive, we're reactive. So once the Russians shut off the gas tap, then they'll worry about what they're going to do. And it's summer, so all they're going to worry about is they're going to worry about cooking. No. Russia should wait to late October, early November, and then shut off the gas. Because then they're going to freeze until they figure it the fuck out. You know, this is like that kid in high school on the cusp of failing geometry. And the teacher tells him, hey, you're getting ready to fail geometry. You're getting ready to fail geometry. You're going to fail geometry. And it isn't until 2 days before a report card comes out, or it's after the report card comes out, that they start looking for extra credit. Oh, how did I fail? How did I fail? How did this happen? I don't know how it happened. Well, the sad fact is, you're fucking around and finding out. Now, that's a recurring theme anymore. Fuck around and find out. Russia's had enough. They're tired of being bullied. Russia's taken a lot of our shit. Why? Because for a long time, Russia was not in a position to say no. You know, this should be a good life lesson for a lot of people. Russia fell. The Soviet Union fell. Russia went into decline. So did all the other republics. And instead of going in there and saying, hey, look, dude, you and I didn't get along, but hey, we're all human beings. Let's help each other out. And I know this is going to sound awful strange coming from a person who you think is whatever you guys think I am. You're going to win people with compassion. You're not going to win them with bullying and smacking around and laughing. Let's face it. We helped make a weak Russian Federation because it was in our best interest, so we thought, to have a weak Russian Federation. This is why we backed clowns like Boris Yeltsin. Boris Yeltsin, the man who actually did more harm to the political sensibilities of Russia than Vladimir Putin could ever do. Now, look up the 93 constitutional crisis, where Yeltsin shelled his own White House, his own Duma, his own legislature. Shelled it. People got locked themselves in, said, we don't like what the president's doing. He said, I don't really give a shit. And you need to come out. You need to get out of that building. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, well, fuck it. I'll shell it. And they ringed it and literally in Moscow fired tank shells into that building. It's all there. It's history. You can read about it. You know, a lot of what I tell you about this whole conflict is rooted in history. That's part of it. That's part that nobody knows. And we like fucking around over there. And we have fucked around in Ukraine a good bit. Probably the masterpiece, the master stroke, was the Euromaidan in 2014, where we helped overthrow the duly elected president of Ukraine and helped the nationalists gain power there. And for any of those of you who don't believe me, that's fine. You can go back and read the history. I can show you the directions where all this shit took. So we aren't simply reacting to Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine. Vladimir Putin is reacting to the long history of NATO and the USA fucking around where it doesn't belong. Now, I can caveat it a little bit. I can understand the EU being concerned. That's their backyard. Some of those countries share borders with Russia. I understand that. But the good old US of A, who shares a border with two countries, Canada and Mexico, what the fuck does it have to do with the Russian Federation in Europe? And I hear all this bullshit. Oh my Lord. The narrative of how our government deals with this. Don't call it a proxy war. This was the very first thing. Don't call it a proxy war in Ukraine. It's not a proxy war. That was at the beginning of the war. Then April, May. Well, of course it's a proxy war. We have to stop them. And now literally this fucking bloated horsecock of an individual gets on. Because he's one of us, but he's connected with NATO. Oh, it's not their war. It's our war. It is our national defense. It's our national defense. Last I checked, there's no Russian border with the United States. You know, I'm not the smartest tool, not the sharpest guy. Where is the border with Russia in relation to our border? And the other question is, why do we keep paying these European welfare queens, these European welfare states, not to take care of their own defense? Why do we pick up the tab? These are all valid questions. And why is it in our best interest to keep a dumpster fire like Ukraine in business? It's absolutely a dumpster fire. All the shit that's going on there, oh, it's a dumpster fire, guys. And you know what? The only logical conclusions that I can draw is, why is Ukraine necessary to the United States? Is number one, a lot of our politicians launder their money through Ukraine. It is one of the hugest money laundering schemes. We give aid to Ukraine. Ukraine gives money back to our politicians. This can be well demonstrated by the no-show job that Burisma, the Ukrainian energy firm, gave to Hunter Biden. Yes, the big guy's son, his favorite son, his progeny. Yes, Hunter Biden. And there's other folks in our government whose kids get these huge contractual jobs that they don't have to show up to, that pay them big bucks per month, more than maybe you or I make in a year, just to fuck around. And what they're doing is they're appeasing our government. The Ukrainians are putting money in their pockets, and our politicians are putting money in their pockets. And I got news for you: that's your money and my money. The other reason is the chemical and biological laboratories that are in Ukraine. And that's another one of these. Remember how I just told you about how it went from being not a proxy war to being our war? Well, that's a lot with the biological labs. There are no biological labs. No, that's Russian propaganda. Well, there are biological research centers. Oh my God, yes, they're biological. And we're worried because if any of those biological agents get released, it's obviously the Russians who did that. It couldn't be the Ukrainian Nazis who were pure as the driven snow. And that you really need to watch because all these fucking narratives keep changing. All this shit gets blown around. And people who don't have our best interest at heart are going to make money, and you and I get to pay for it. So, anyhow, folks, that's my long blown topic for today. Hope you enjoyed that. The 22nd of June. Happy Barbarossa Day, folks. Anyhow, take care. I'll see you down the road, and let's watch history happen because that's what we're watching. We're watching Europe be redrawn. Bye.